Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to yet another online session of Chai and Why. During this pandemic, we've been forced to take our sessions online, else we'd have been at Ruparel College today, the mid-month session. But till we can get back, this is the best to join us and ask a lot of questions. And one thing in these online sessions, we really have no idea of who is watching. And we need your feedback via the comments on the YouTube channel or comments on the Facebook video, whatever you're watching. So please do comment and try and interact with us during the session. Today is a very special session. It's on the topic of design. And to tell us about it, we have Anisha Malhotra, who is at our CIFR's Science Education Center, the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education in Leonard, Mumbai. And she is a PhD from IDC. Before that, she was at NID, and she'll tell us what she does in the world of design at HBCSE. And today, she's going to take us through the importance and significance of why design is there everywhere around us and why it's important. So over to you, Anisha. But before we start, I have a request for the audience watching us. You see, we would really like to know, do we have more people who are students, school students, young at heart, adults, or are you college students? So maybe what you can do today is to start with, just tell us I know there are about 36 people watching us right now on YouTube. I don't know how many on Facebook, but put in the comments, just tell us, are you a school student? Are you a college student? Are you just an adult who's young at heart? Anyone, don't worry. There's something for everybody. It's just that Anisha's got so many examples. She thought that she would choose the one depending on the audience, which would be more fun. But let's just see what's going on.
Yes, okay. And one more request, please, Arnab. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Another request to the audience here that if you prefer Hindi, I can, because there are some terminologies or some words that I will be using in design. If you prefer that, I should speak also in Hindi, just comment that as well. I mean, I will appreciate it if you could do that, and I can take care of that as well.
Okay, so maybe some of the keywords you could just explain both in English and Hindi if necessary. Okay, yes. So we have right now only 3 people who've said, and there's one young student, two young students, 1 college student, 1 adult young at heart. So anyway, let's get started. As people update things, we'll tell you, and we'll remind them periodically to let us know.
Sure.
Okay. On Facebook, anyone, any comments? Actually, I guess I can monitor Facebook. No, I can't.
No, Arnab, there are no comments right now. Please proceed.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Anisha, all yours. Let's get going.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Arnab, for this wonderful opportunity. I know it's a bit weird to do an online session when you don't know who's watching you and whom you're talking to. I mean, whether you should be funny enough or you should be very serious to talk or what. So it's a bit of a challenge for me to just imagine and talk. But I think that's what we as designers do. We imagine all the time. And I'll just build up a story here as well. So design and this rainbow-like image which you have seen can offer both, I think, from a bad experience to a very good experience. And as designers, we take the responsibility to make the world a better place in terms of providing better user experiences, better understanding of the products that you touch, you use on an everyday basis. So I am I usually work, my training is in design. So I'm trained as an information designer from the National Institute of Design. And right now I'm working with the Design and Technology Education Group at HBCSE, where we bring in design education to school children. It's been a wonderful journey so far with the DNT group because we honestly are trying to see what works with children, what doesn't work with children. So we don't try to make mini packages of how adults learn design and deliver it to children. So we work on a lot of design skills. We make games from scientific content. The chapters that you read in science, we try and make games out of it. We test it with children. We make them indulge into visual spatial thinking, like making roller coasters or making mathematics principles in fun ways. We deliver it in fun ways that, such as games, etc. If you're interested in knowing what we do more, you can just, I think I will not spend too much time today on what we do at DNT. You can just go to this website here. I have given the link of the website here, dnte.hpcse.tifr.res.in. There is a whole lot of activities and worksheets that we have put up on our website. It'll be great if you can see those websites, those resources, use those resources and send us feedback if you've tried those resources also. There are the resources vary from something which is STEM related to visual spatial thinking to your fine motor skills, paper folding, origami, etc. So I would now like to start this session on design. So when Arnab called me and asked me whether I could do a design session, because I don't know if we have audiences from the last year when I did a international dot day session with Chai and Wai. We celebrated the book called The Dot by Peter Reynolds, and we did dot mazes together. So I thought when Arnab called me that, okay, we should do one more design session at Chai and Bai, I thought, it will be very exciting. It's a new platform. It's something I should really, explore. And I thought make it interactive and use an interactive platform such as Jamboard to, I would draw, I will write, I will make arrows, and I will take feedback from the audience and then make connections. And sort of on one page, I will just make like a fun interactive presentation. So I said, okay, let's try that. And I was very excited to do that. So I opened Google Jamboard. I don't know whether people know or use Google Jamboard. It is a collaborative platform, like a whiteboard sort of a thing, where people can together make presentations, talk and communicate together on an online platform. So I started, this was the very first time that I was using it. So I was first time user to make a jam. So it said, okay, you don't have a jam yet, tap plus to create one. So I tapped and nothing happened. And I was wondering why nothing is happening. I'm trying to create a jam, but nothing is happening. Why am I not able to create it? Is my internet connection slow? What is the matter? So soon I realized that I was probably tapping the wrong plus. I don't know if you can see why is it wrong? Probably. Can you see the cursor moving? Arnab, if you can just say yes, can you see the cursor moving?
Can you move it again very slowly?
Here on the orange plus.
Yeah, now we can see your cursor. So you can say that there is an orange cursor or orange plus on the right hand bottom.
Yeah, so if I have to say that there is an orange plus bottom mein there is an orange button, that in itself says that it is probably not the best design ever. So as a designer's responsibility, it is your responsibility to give your products such an identity, such a feel, such such affordances that the user should be able to see it and use it all by themselves. So I had a major problem by not being able to create a jam, and because of the simple flaw that I kept tapping here rather than tapping here. So I thought, okay, let's just go back to old school making PPT and probably do it later. And probably it is more important for me to talk about these things, these issues of design principles, such as grouping and proximity, that why certain things work and why certain things do not work in the area of design. So in this talk, I will be talking about some good design examples, bad design examples, focusing on two principles from design. One, grouping and proximity, which basically means ग्रुप कैसे करते हैं हम चीजों को, हम नहीं करते हैं बट हमारी आईज और हमारी कॉग्निशन ग्रुप करती है. So we don't intentionally, consciously are trying to make sense of the world. As we grow up, socially, cognitively, we are trained to read certain groups And if two things are together, for example, if I place these two things together, it will automatically form a group. If I place them slightly apart, it will be two different categories. So this is what we use as Gestalt laws. And we use the Gestalt laws for grouping in proximity. And we try to design both our products, the tangible world, and something which is intangible, say, for example, a design screen, web screen, and an app. We use these things to make the experience better and navigation of the user also something which is which we target at making something smooth. So grouping in proximity is one thing which we will be talking about, and the second thing will be visual cues. So this is very interesting, especially in design for products and now interfaces, because most of the world has switched to online use of things. So we have a lot of interfaces, apps everywhere. So our world is so we don't have anybody to tell us every time that, okay, click on this, click on that, do this, do that, and then only the product will function. So we have something called visual cues. Don Norman calls it the word affordance. That is, how is a particular product or a particular thing, a visual, is talking to you to take an action. For example, a rock, if you look at a rock will look something which is hard, which will probably be hard to pick up, to throw. It will hit you really bad. So if you look around in the environment, our environment is full of visual cues, something which is sharp, something which is dangerous, something which is okay, something which will be wet. So all these experiences, the tactile thing, we do get from the visual cues itself. So first, I would like to start with grouping in proximity and talk about how design
Anisha,
either. Yeah.
Anisha, may I request you, grouping and proximity as well as visual cues? Can you just summarize that these two things, if you want to in Hindi, what would you just say call visual cues and grouping? I mean, just in case there is people who are
Yes.
probably more comfortable in Hindi.
Sure.
And by the way, we have about 60 people watching right now.
Okay, hello. So so grouping in proximity. So मैं बात कर रही हूँ यहाँ पर कि design principles कोई भी चीज हम जो भी डिजाइन करते हैं, हमारे पास मोबाइल है. Children, in your books, if you're able to read your books well, thank the designers, because they have put in a lot of effort कि उन्होंने बुक्स में अलग अलग कलर्स यूज करके, अलग अलग लेआउट यूज करके आपकी बुक्स को रीडेबल बनाए, making your book look beautiful and designing beautiful cover pages so that you will be that book and read that book. It is about how well the lines के बीच में spacing कैसी रखी है. तो छोटे जो बच्चे होते हैं, जैसे उन लोगों के लिए font size थोड़ा बड़ा रखा जाता है. जो senior citizens हैं, जिनको पढ़ने में दिक्कत आ सकती है, उनके लिए भी मोबाइल फोन्स में जो टेक्स्ट का ऑप्शन है, we do have a variable option, that is आप छोटा भी कर सकते हैं, बड़ा भी कर सकते हैं. All those possibilities have now become accessible to users because of the digital world. तो ग्रुपिंग एंड प्रॉक्सिमिटी हम डिजाइनर्स एक टेक्निक आप बोल सकते हो जो यूज करते हैं, जेस्टॉल्ट प्रिंसिपल के ऊपर बेस्ड है वो. जेस्टॉल्ट का कोई हिंदी नहीं है बिकॉज वो एक नाम है. तो ग्रुपिंग एंड प्रॉक्सिमिटी इज बेसिकली जब हम, जैसे ये 3 उंगलियां हैं और 4 उंगलियां हैं, अगर हम इन चारों को साथ में रखेंगे तो ये एक ग्रुप बन जाएगा. अगर हम इनको थोड़ा डिस्टेंस पे रखेंगे तो हम इसको, हमारी आईज, हमारा कॉग्निशन ऑटोमेटिकली इसको बोलेगा कि ये 2 कैटेगरीज है. सिमिलरली अगर मैं ऐसे करूं तो ये 3 जो है उंगलियां वो एक कैटेगरी बन जाएगी. दिस विल बी लेफ्ट अलोन. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज हाउ ड्यू टू प्रॉक्सिमिटी और सिमिलैरिटी, अगर मैं 2 कैंडीज को साथ में रख दूं सिमिलर लुकिंग और 2 रॉक्स को साथ में रखूं, तो बिकॉज ऑफ द विजुअल सिमिलैरिटी हम वो कैटेगरीज को अपने दिमाग में बिठा लेते हैं. सो दैट इज ग्रुपिंग इन प्रॉक्सिमिटी. एंड विजुअल क्यूज इज समथिंग विच इज आपको कोई चीज देखते ही समझ में आता है कि मुझे उसके साथ कैसे इंटरैक्ट करना है. जैसे कि अगर मेरे पास एक चेयर है तो द चेयर सॉर्ट ऑफ इनवाइट्स यू टू सिट. A table will tell you that, okay, I need to keep something on it and then use that table. When I will go ahead in my presentation, you will see a lot of examples how visual cues आपके लिए अच्छे visual cues डिजाइन जो किए जाते हैं वो आपको कैसे मदद करते हैं to use that product. And कई बारी वो visual cues आपको confuse भी कर सकते हैं, और आप उस product को जिस तरीके से बनाया गया है, जिस लिए बनाया गया है, वो आप product उस तरीके से use नहीं कर पाएंगे, at least for the first time. So we go on grouping and proximity. This is one of my favorite examples of grouping and proximity. This is not what is done intentionally. So you can read that it is, I don't know whether it is Sasalele or Sale, sale. So it's something which is the designer probably just made this part, this long rectangular part, but because of the placement of the second poster alongside and grouping, we read left to right. Because of our cognition, we read left to right, and hence the sale part somewhere gets lost and we read Sasalele. So that is again something which causes confusion. This is not just one example, you will find it at a lot of places. All you need is Sasalele. So, and you will see it at many places. I'm sure a lot of people must be thinking, "Arey, haan, humne kahin to dekha hai ye." Another example I saw at a home store was something like this. So this is not, I'm not saying a designer has done it wrong. It is just because of the placement. They probably did not think that when it goes to the shop, the products will be kept together and people can read it somewhere. Probably, a Santa Claus is going to come to our house sometime soon. So ho ho me me. But the problem is that designers can actually do it intentionally. Intentionally in the sense without knowing much that how can it affect the reading abilities. So if you go by the Gestalt principle and all of that, it says don't worry, be happy. No, it doesn't. It says don't be happy, worry. Now the designer actually paid attention and made an effort to make this font and this font similar. They also use these straight lines like a bracket, and this is written in cursive, this is written in capital letters. So from the designer side, I think the effort was made to make these two different categories, that cursive log alag se padhenge और जो ये capitals में लिखा है वो लोग अलग से पढ़ेंगे. But you forget that you read like this. I mean, you don't necessarily, it is very spaced out to read something like this. See, for us who can read English, it can be a joke because we read English and we understand English and we are aware of, we already know this saying, don't worry, be happy. But for a first time person who doesn't know English will probably read it saying, don't be happy, worry, So this is where grouping and proximity can, if not used properly, can really fail. This is another example of Gestalt and grouping. I don't
Anisha,
know
can you hear us?
If you want
Anisha, Anisha, we lost you for about 10 seconds. I think your network is probably a bit iffy. So can you just repeat anything you said after these two up-down arrow slides appeared?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So this is another example.
It's not your mic. It's just your network had gone off probably for 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't worry. Just what you said on this slide.
Yeah. So so here also, I think there is probably you have now understood that how grouping can mislead people, and it is not something which the designer probably thought of, that if I put something like this, it can mislead people and it can cause a lot of confusion. So the next time you see something like this, blame it on the designer, because they did not think about that people do read groups and they do form categories based on visual cues. This is another example. So if you have to go to room number 218, where will you go? Towards your left or towards your right? तो इसमें भी यही प्रॉब्लम हुआ है. आप अगर ये स्क्वायर, आप 4 स्क्वायर्स बनाते हैं and you don't know where to make that association, whether to group it with this room number or whether to group this arrow with this room number or this one. An easier solution probably would have been just placing the arrow with this. So you make the proximity better. आप इस चीज को इसके पास ले आए तो दोनों के बीच में डिस्टेंस कम होगा और कंफ्यूजन कम होगी. तो उस तरीके से ये डिजाइन को इम्प्रूव किया जा सकता था so that it would have caused less confusion. Now we come to visual cues. Visual cues जैसे मैंने कि आपको समझाया कि एक rock, something which is like a feather, हम लोगों को देखते ही समझ में आता है कि कोई चीज लाइट है, कोई चीज हैवी है. So nature gives us those cues that something is dangerous. You should probably not go near that thing. Something is pleasant. Something probably will smell good or smell bad. Like packaging, for example, how nature packages its things. Like a banana, if it will go ripe, you will find out by the change of its color that, you know, it is giving us that cue that probably it is not something that you should be eating. It is something which has gone bad. And something which is very, very fresh, like coriander or something like that, you will feel that, okay, this is something fresh and we can use it. So designers always take inspiration from nature, and we design products taking inspiration from nature, how intuitive nature is, and we try to bring that intuition in the design of our products also. So by visual cues and design affordance, a good example, like I said earlier, was a chair or a pair of scissors. It does tell us that, you know, this end is probably sharp, so you should not touch here. It gives us these holes where you can insert the fingers in it. It has intentionally made one hole slightly bigger, one hole slightly smaller, so you know how to insert your hand in that and how to use a pair of scissors. And eventually you will learn. So the first time user will also probably not have so much of a confusion that what this product is all about and why probably it will be needed by me. Now, if we talk about the USB cable, if you guys could comment, what do you think? Does it give good visual cues? Is it a good design or a bad design? I would really like to know your opinion, and then I would continue what I think about it.
So please take 30 seconds. Please let us know your comments on the live chat on YouTube or on the comments on the Facebook video. You are seeing a USB connector, and do you think this is an example of good design, or is there something that is not so clear about it? So just put your comments in the chat.
And this is page number 22, this slide number 22. If you could just write slide number 22, and this is your response for slide 22. Just write the number 22 and hyphen and then write it. If we get 3 comments, Arnab, then I think we can just continue. We can just wait for some 3 comments and then we should continue.
So I have I have 3 comments on the YouTube.
Okay.
Slide number 22, somebody says it is a bad design. And then often somebody says, often inserting in wrong direction. There is a bad design. It is fine, but I feel it works based on how badly you need it. So probably people don't read the icons properly.
See, the problem is you don't have to read the icon. It is nothing. I mean, it is not. You don't have other options. I mean, icons are symbols are important for you when you have to make a choice whether to stop or whether to move. You know, whether to close this or whether you want to share it or you want to switch on the video, you want to switch off the video. So if it is something that is only a one action thing, inserting a basic cable into your laptop, you should not be reading the icon.
Okay, so I'll just summarize the comments. So most people seem to think that you insert it in the wrong direction. It's bad design. First time it always goes in the wrong way regardless, and it's not dump proof. It should have been better. Whenever you need it badly, it doesn't go in. You get it right only on the 3rd attempt, and things like this.
You counted the attempts also.
Yeah, and Someone else says that the logo is not clearly visible.
The symbol.
Yeah, and of course, there's also a comment saying that the symbol is very easy if it tells you which is the front side and how to use it.
Okay, so we have one person who says that, okay, you can read it. See, the
Two.
problem...
There are two people who said it's a great design for me, yeah.
Okay, so probably it's because you have probably used it many a times and you have gotten used to it. So you do get used to it, we get habituated, and that is what, you know, designers, not really designers who are like good designers, but designers play on that. ठीक है, बना दो, habit हो जाएगी. जैसे हर एक चीज की हम लोगों को, स्पेशली इंडियंस को आदत पड़ जाती है, इस चीज की भी एडजस्ट कर लेंगे. But as a designer, I would like to oppose that, you know, you cannot do it like that. If something has to be explained, if something has to be tried multiple times and still you fail, it is not a foolproof thing that you will still be, you know, inserting, especially like somebody said, that it depends on how desperate you are to, you know, get this action done and move on to it, especially in a presentation like thing when you have like just 3 minutes to present your poster and then next person is waiting in turn. You really you know, need to do things which are like really easy to do. Anyways, we move on to the next. This is the switchboard. What do you think about this? Does it give any visual cues? Is it a good design or a bad design? One, in a room, एक अगर सिर्फ switchboard है तो अच्छा डिजाइन है कि बुरा डिजाइन है, और कुछ rooms ऐसे भी होते हैं जहाँ पे two-way switches होते हैं. वहां पर आपके पास एक तरफ बोर्ड होता है near the door and one is close to the bed. तो वहां पर भी एक आपका सेट होता है for the same set of switches. Now, I would like you guys to comment whether it is good design, bad design, does it have any visual cues? What does it say to you as a user? If you could just comment again.
Okay, once again, we'll wait for a few minutes while people write about the switchboard, whether they think this is an example of good design or bad design, or are there any problems with it. And
not as necessarily this particular switchboard, any switchboard that you've come across in your house, in your room, you're sitting right now, you can take that example and just share that with us. If you've ever experienced, you know, some fault in the design of it.
Okay, someone says that I don't find large switchboards intuitive to use. And there is a very interesting question from Deepthi who's asking, are function and design then interconnected, or should aesthetics and functionality be left distinct? Sorry. Another one says bad design. Another one says bad design. So that's the 4 comments so far on. There's another one which says bad.
Repeat the question on the functionality. And
so the question is, this is a switchboard, and in terms of
the
question
away?
Of yeah.
So away.
Yeah, so Deepthi is asking, are function and design then interconnected, or should aesthetics and functionality be left distinct? And there's a new comment on the switch. It says that it's a good design if it's a one-way switch. It's a bad design if it's a two-way switch. And it's a good design if you can distinguish the top row from the bottom
row. Okay, thank you. Shall I answer Deepti's question first and probably ask?
If you want to answer it now, or we can take it later if it's not related to this particular example. I mean, it's up to you.
Ask Divyesh uncle. Arnab, can you hear me? I have been talking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So I think I will take that question. What Deepthi is asking is a very, very, very core question. And design is not just aesthetics. Design is a lot about, so we call it form and function. And design is somewhere a marriage, a connection between form and function. So a form should be able to deliver its message by the form. Use the function as a message should be delivered. That is, how am I going to use it? And so form and function are very much related. So yes, I mean, aesthetics is something which you will be taking care of somewhere later. how to make it, so for aesthetics, it probably means how to make it more attractive, how to make it stand out amongst the crowd. There are so many switchboards available in the market, which switchboard to buy, which will go with my interior design. That part will probably go more with the aesthetic part of it. But form is something like the size of the switch, the space between the switches, how you have placed the switches on the switchboard. So those are some things which probably are of more importance for a better functionality than the beauty part of it, the decorative part of it. So form and function are associated very much. Are we waiting for more comments?
No, I mean, only two more comments which are saying that there's no indication which belongs to fan and light.
Yes.
It's bad if it's two-way. The buttons don't indicate fan on light, and there are too many buttons, so you don't know which one is fan or switch.
Yes. So that again, it's a habit thing that you learn on the way. You learn which one is which one, and you make those associations through repeated use. And that is what designers probably use it. Again, that repetition, like in education, you keep repeating. एक दिन आ जाएगा कि A कौन सा है, B कौन सा है, 1 कौन सा है, 2 कौन सा है. So, but that is not a good approach to design. And especially with the two-way switches, it's a very bad design because see, nowadays they put these two dots or a rectangle or something that indicates, some kind of a symbology is used to indicate that, this is probably a two-way switch and not a single use switch. But the problem here is that, I mean, if there is always a confusion, which one is on, which one is off, especially if your tube light goes bad and you don't have the tube light on, you don't know whether you're inserting the new tube light, whether the switch is on or off. So there are lots of issues with the switchboard. Now I would like to ask, this is a product that is very much in use. I want to know from the audience, by looking at it, what do you think is this product used for? And why do you think it is used for this? If you could write in that comment, just don't write good, bad, it is this. Why do you think it is this? What made you think it is this? It is used for this. So we'll again wait for 30 seconds. Page number 24. Slide number. Books padhte hain hum.
So just to repeat, there is a picture on this slide, number 24, and do put in the comments, what do you think this product is used for, and why do you think it's meant for that? Okay, so there is Nutcracker. It cuts beetle nuts. It's a eye curler. Ah, that's interesting. An eye curler or a nutcracker.
What is the cue
and
that
there's
you got?
somebody, yeah. So why do you think it's a nutcracker? The people who said nutcracker, why do you think it's a nutcracker?
And the eye curler also, please, if you could write, add on to that your comment, please. Is there anything on FB, Divya Shankar?
I'm not monitoring actually. Kulkarni ji is doing.
Okay.
Okay, so Suren, if there are comments on FB, please let us know. But so somebody says it's a nutcracker because of the spring mechanism.
Okay.
And somebody says it's a nutcracker. Oh my God, this has saved my life so many times. Apurva says that it's because of the shape. It thinks it's a nutcracker. Just looking at it, it's an inherent answer. Okay, because it has a sharp edge to hold and pierce the shell, it's meant to crack open hard-shelled nuts.
This one.
There is also because of the middle part of the object to crack the nut to hold it. Somebody says it's a bottle opener. Wait, we have one new answer which is bottle opener, and there's Ninad Vatre who says egg cracker.
Okay.
And Marav says egg cracker because, okay, and one answer is, by the way, Dance World, we are getting your inputs. If you just give it once, it's fine. You don't have to enter it 6 times. It's fine. Once, just one comment is okay. Yeah, Arav says egg cracker, and someone, Ninad Vatwe, says egg cracker, and somebody says bottle opener. Okay, so now you
So
have
there is a bottle opener, egg cracker, nut cracker, beetle, and
nut.
an eye curler.
Eye curler, yeah.
So one product giving you cues for 5 different uses or actions. And probably somebody, I mean, all of you probably agree with me that the action is to squeeze. That kind of a cue we all agree with. That it has to, something has to be put inside and it has to be squeezed. Right? So let's see what this product is. And we got different views. I mean, you understood the product from different parts of. So one is this action of squeezing, the sharp edges, or the spring here. And most importantly, I think people who have especially said that it is to break something which is hard, like a nutcracker or something like that. A bottle opener is probably because of the metal, the material that is used to make this product. It is actually an egg cracker, which is, I don't know, I mean, why did they make this? I mean, you can just break the egg with your hands. I mean, it is to make your hands less messy, but you will have to wash this thing, especially in this lockdown. If I have one more utensil to wash, I don't know, need it. So yes, it is an egg cracker, but the product gives so many visual cues. And the material gives you a visual cue. The form gives you a visual cue. The attachments which are there, like a spring or the nuts and the bolts, everything is talking to you. Is what I wanted to convey by saying what are the visual cues. Can anybody now guess what this is? Slide 25. You see these products, one in orange and one in black. If you could please comment what you think this is and why do you think it is what it is.
Once again, we have 2 products on this page, one in orange, one in black. I think they're the same thing.
Yes.
What do you think these are used for? And looking at it, what makes you think that that's the use? We have a very interesting answer from Agarwal Diagnostic Center, which says this is a spectacle cleaner.
Okay.
A spectacle cleaner. And Dance World also says spectacle cleaner. I hope people aren't Googling these images and finding out things.
No, I think it is because of the diagnostic center that they know. So I can probably reveal the answer here.
20, yeah. Okay. Soft things holder, contact
Should I
lens
go ahead?
cleaner.
So the thing with affordances is a contact lens cleaner.
Yeah, contact lens cleaner. A lemon squeezer, said somebody. You put up the answer now. It is
yes.
A.
It is a spectacle cleaner. And see why probably a diagnostic center. See, if you're familiar with the product, so the design theories also say the more the familiarity, the more the visual cues you will be able to read and get habituated to. So if you have already used this product in your everyday life, you will probably know what it is or something similar that comes, if I just add some graphics onto it, you will still understand what this is. If I will change the material of it, if I make it instead of plastic, I use metal to make it, you will still be able to know what it is because of the familiarity that you have with the product. So see, similarly, the environment and the context matters a lot to read those visual cues. So a doctor's equipment, if you put that doctor's equipment out of context and you put it in a playgroup or in a library, so people probably will not be able to understand what that product is. But all the medical world will be able to know, read the cues and understand the function of that product. So the context also helps in understanding the visual cues and getting familiarized with the use of the product. So just a request, if you are very sure of what this product is and you know you've used it, please take some time to respond. Let others probably guess, people who are unfamiliar with this product. And this is the last one, the slide number 26. What do you think this is? We usually do this on a live thing. We give you the product so that you can feel the products, you can touch the products, mold it, twist it, and all of that. And especially the scale of the product helps you in understanding the function of the product also. Because of this medium, everything looks the same size. So the scale is also something which gives you visual cues, whether it is small, it is big. Unfortunately, we are not able to do this, and all thanks to you that you are just imagining it and in your hand and writing the comments.
Someone on Facebook says that is a holder of some sort.
Okay, one request to people on both YouTube and Facebook, just put slide 26 dash so and so, because we know which product you're referring to, at least for viewers later on. Okay, so now we have answers coming in. This is a fridge magnet. This could be a hanger. It could be a paper clip. It could be a wire holder. So these are the answers which have come in. Minaj says fridge magnet. Ankit, hanger. Deepti says paper clip. Apurv says wire holder. Dance World says fridge magnet.
Do we have any rationale in the comments? Are they saying why, the reason why they think it is public?
No, no reasons. So please put some reasons if you would like to. Someone else says paperclip.
Oh, he to game hai. I mean, what makes you think it is that? And then only we'll be able to argue.
On Facebook, another comment, it's a soft toy.
Okay. So they probably think it is, the material is something which is soft and cushy.
Okay, we have some reasons now. So, oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Somebody thinks this is a finger holder which is used while applying nail polish because of the grooves in it.
How cool is that?
that's very imaginative. That's very nice.
Yes, I mean,
creative.
Very creative.
Deepti thinks that, I think she had said this is a paper clip because the mouth of the giraffe looks like a holder.
Sure.
And Ram says this is just a child's toy, perhaps. There's no actual specific use. Ninad says it's colorful. I imagine it is small and flat, and hence it's similar to a fridge magnet type thing. And Ankit says it has 4 legs, so we can use these legs for hanging.
Okay, there is one hole here and one hole here. Okay. So there are 2 holes here. If it was a live session, I mean, you could have touched and seen it yourself. This is actually a one hole here and one hole here. And shall I really reveal the answer? What?
Yeah, maybe.
So the answers are actually not what is the right answer. It is what the designer intended to do. I think we are getting some very creative, very, very useful uses of these products, and probably the designers should be listening and remarket themselves and sell these products probably for dual or multi-purposes, which is very, very good. So it is actually something like a earphone or a cord holder. So these 2 holes help you to place the cord and keep it intact. It's a very tiny thing. It's very small, very flexible. You can just keep it in your pocket and move around. So that is the problem with this digital thing. You cannot feel and understand. So this is what was there. Visual cues are also something like, how colors, not just the form, the shape, but also the color plays a role in telling you what is it. Everybody must be familiar. I think the kids also must be familiar with these two dots, one green and one red. It is for veg and non-veg. Do you all think it is a good design or a bad design? Very quickly, if you can just comment very quickly, is it a good design or a bad design? We'll just take some 5 comments and move on to the next. Slide number 27. Very quickly, especially if you don't think it is a good design, why it is not a good design?
Okay, a lot of people are saying good design, but no justification. But there is one very nice answer which says it is prejudicial against non-veg because red symbolizes danger. Only one person has said bad, but no explanations for each Cornelio so far. It depends on who you are.
Okay, so it basically it works most of the time. I mean, when it was introduced, also
there is another comment coming in, which is saying that what about people with red-green color blindness?
Yes.
This is not come. This is a separate comment which has just been messaged to me, which says, "What about red-green color blindness?"
So on Facebook, I have few comments. Someone is saying that it does not provide any context to someone.
Pointed out.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Dibishanti.
Yeah, so someone says that it does not provide any context to someone who does not know about it. So we have to know beforehand to.
If there is something written like a text also there, probably it will convey better. Veg written under the green or the non-veg written under text.
So, also, somebody says that for veg there should be a plant, and maybe for non-veg there should be a bone. It's not a good design as it doesn't tell me. It tells me non-veg is not good and veg is good, and you cannot tell the use unless you know what it means.
Yes. So until and unless you understand what it is, so you're again habituated to your. So when they introduce something new, a symbol or something, you do get a reasoning for it, why this is designed and what is it. So you do get understanding of that. But certain points which have been raised, I think, are fair enough and very good points. Something like which is somebody said prejudice about the non-veg food, and something, red color may be dangerous. I mean, how do you select a red for non-veg? Is it like, blood, or what is it? What are they trying to say? Whereas green can be very easily associated with plants and all of that. But what is the reasoning for a red? And somebody else, I'm sorry, I don't know your name because I'm not able to read the comments. Very, very rightly said. I think there was a message to earn a personal message. That what about people who are colorblind between the red and green? That is actually a very, 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 the design sort of does not work very well. And one needs to think more on this categorization, probably some other way to identify veg versus non-veg. Should we go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is another example on the interface world, something on websites and apps. You use apps every day. How grouping and proximity and visual cues tell us that, okay, I will probably, these round things have a certain function, which is different from this rectangular thing where probably I have to type something. This is probably something which is clickable and it will drop down. And the button in all of the screen is probably only this and not the others. So, these are also visual cues which we as interface designers, as graphic designers use. The use of color, the use of form, the use of distinct shapes like this round, and the clickability, the way it will function will be different from this. So all these are visual cues which a set of designers have worked on it so that your experience becomes hassle free, it becomes effortless, it becomes as smooth as possible. And if you remember the IRCTC website, which used to be there earlier times, the experience was very, very, very difficult and horrible to say. Just to book a set of tickets, it was very painful. So this is how the visual cues and grouping and proximity, similarities, how the color is functioning here. This part is only highlighted, the bright white part. So your eyesight goes directly on this rectangle, and it doesn't get distracted with the left side or the right side, even though there are bits of color available, but that is just to grab your attention to something which they probably need as a business. On the other hand, if you see this, they have also tried to group, but they have tried to use all the colors in the world, not all, but a lot of colors which probably don't go with each other, and unnecessary highlights. All the buttons look the same, and if you have to book a cab, you don't know exactly where to go unless you know how to read this. So if you're not an English reading person, it is almost very difficult for you to navigate through the website and to book a taxi. There is no symbol, there is nothing which says that which kind of car, where, how, price. You have to go through everything and then see it. So it is dominated by text. So how this is again another example of how visual cues, if not designed properly, can again help, can sort of delay your actions. So for here, for example, I wanted to animate this circle and I wanted to add a custom animation to it. So I clicked on the custom animation bit. It showed me this pop-up. And in here, it says first select the slide element and then click add to add an animation effect. Where is this add? I mean, click add. It says text add. It doesn't say anywhere it is going to be a symbol. They assume that probably this button is actually what you need to press to add the animation. But they assume that people know that this plus sign means, or you should interpret it something as adding on to something like that. And if you look at this is actually not very well differentiated. So in such a bright screen with so many words, so many icons, so many symbols, this differentiation without much of a color contrast, it doesn't stand out. Probably this needs to be highlighted a bit more so your attention goes here. I'm not saying put a circle on it, but the rectangle could be of slightly more contrast. थोड़ा और अगर कलर में चेंज लाते तो probably हमारी आईज की अटेंशन उधर जाती है and हम थोड़ा easily काम कर पाते. अब ये जो चीज है, designers use it for their own benefit also. For example, if I'm just reading something, okay, la la la, what is user-centered design, ta ta ta. This is a company which sells some tools, okay, some online tools, and they really want you to buy that online tool. That is their primary motive. All this blog, vagera, they just keep adding on to some text and all of that, but they really want you to buy their product. So you're just reading, and you must have also come across, especially the adults who are with me in this presentation. All of a sudden, one pop-up will come, and you will accidentally, just click on the button because you are habituated to just click on that button. Whereas you don't want to download this particular wireframing tool. You don't want to accept certain requests. You don't want to add certain people as friends. You don't want to subscribe to certain things, but you end up doing that because there are some designers who are paid for these things and for their business to keep running. And here, see, the emphasis should actually be equal, whether you want to download or you don't want to download it. But very intelligently, using the visual cues, using the principles of design, of highlight and bringing your attention to certain things, you will end up doing this and not, no thanks, I'm good, unless you pay attention and you read it carefully and then press on that. Similarly, if you go to buy something, Vodafone plans or some song playlist or something on Netflix, something like that, the subscriptions somewhat come like this. the things that they want you to buy will be highlighted more with, like, nice bright colors, buttons, and all of that. And whereas something you would probably be interested in and probably is good for your pocket will be given to you as something which is not even clickable. So this seems inactive. I hope you're all able to see the cursor, and this on the very left side, this rupees 35 rupees one, it looks almost inactive, but this is done intentionally. This is not something like the elevator button or the rooms example that I was showing you, that the intention was something else, but it's such that it so happened that it misled people. This is done to intentionally mislead people for the profit of their business. So are you ready for some short exercise for designing? You just need to comment on it, and you can, if you're on Facebook, you can draw and you can post a picture in the comments. It's a very simple exercise. Now, so we have gone through these visual cues and how you bring attention and all of that. I want you to, so this is a big gray square, and there are these 4 small squares, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is slide number 35. So when you will comment, say slide number 35 and your solution to it. I want 1 and 2 square to look like that they are draggable. So you can drag and drop it in this bigger circle. I want square number 3 to look like a button which is clickable. So this is not something which you will click and it will stay here. This needs to be dragged and dropped. This number 3 is something which will stay there, and it is a clickable button. And number 4 is something that you should not touch. You should not be touching number 4. So if you could just take a few seconds, probably 60 seconds or 1 minute or so, to design, to come up with solutions, draw something, and probably, or if you're on YouTube, you can just comment that I think square number 1 and 2 should have this. Square number 3 should be this. Square number 4 probably should be this. And we could discuss that. Is that okay, Arnav?
Yes, could you just repeat what people are supposed to do? Can you just repeat the instructions again?
Yeah, I should have written
Where,
that here.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a big square, big gray square, and there are
1
2 small gray squares. So what are they supposed to do again?
So square number 1 and 2 should look like it is to be dragged and dropped. So you can move these 2 squares, number 1 and number 2, whereas number 3 and number 4 are not movable. Number 3 is something which is just a click button, like a submit or save or OK. So it is just a button which is to be clicked. And number 4 is something which you should not touch. I mean, probably, something you will delete your thing, your computer will shut down, or something which you don't want to do. Is that clear?
And if you're on YouTube, you'll have to just write it in the comments. If you're on Facebook, you could either write in the comments, or you could also sketch something and take a picture and put a picture in the comments as well. Whereas on the YouTube chat, it's only text, so you'll just have to tell us what would you do to make 1 and 2 be draggable, 3 be clickable, and 4 should say that don't touch me. Okay, Deepthi has one answer. She says square 1, you would put up and down arrows, like drag something. Square 2, maybe left and right arrows for drag something. Square 3, an enter key arrow kind of a design. And okay. Square 4 would have a skull or a big cross sign or something like that.
Okay, so use of symbols.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surit says, to make it draggable, then it should have some visualization to make it look, it has some movement. or maybe change in its color is what he says for 35 to make it draggable.
So when you move it, it probably changes color. So adding more interactivity to it. So the moment you move it, it probably changes color or some shape. Okay.
Yeah, on Facebook, someone is saying 1 and 2 should be yellow color, 3 green, and 4 gray.
So distinction by the use of color. So we can use color, symbols, different forms actually, which so far we have not got a response that you can make it look different. The forms can be different, not too many different forms because again, the rule of 5 plus minus 2 of categorization will not work. That you can read only a certain amount number of uh, shapes at a one time. At a time.
Yeah,
Okay,
another.
yeah, go ahead, Divyashankar. Use the Facebook one. Yeah.
Yeah, so square 1 and 2 should be grouped with a border. 3 should be different in shape, more like a rounded rectangle. And square should be dark red background with a bold white cross.
Dark red. But don't you think that will bring in a lot of attention with the grays and all around it? I mean, something to be think about. To think about. Now you don't have to respond right now. But see, contrast works both ways. I mean, if you put a red with all the grays and light colors, it will stand out even if it says that it is dangerous or you should not do it.
Okay, there is a chat which has come in. I'm just going to put it in a text message which has come in. I'm just going to type it out over here itself. Um, 1 and 2 could be elevated and have a dashed outline. 3 with bright color with a contrasting text. 4 would be dim or full colored, but important, 1 and 2 needs to have the same corresponding dashed outline in the gray space as well, the big gray space.
So 1 and 2 have to look similar so that they're grouped together visually. And 3 and 4 look like different categories and different actions have to be taken. So that grouping thing needs to be there, and 1 and 2 have to look similar, is what they're trying to say.
Okay, and a few more have come in. So for slide 35, one recommendation is 1 and 2 green dotted borders and a left arrow on top of 1 and 2. 3 is well, 4 text should be changed to light gray font or black. 4, I can't read this. Well, that makes sense. Okay, another one says drop shadow for 1 and 2 to make it look movable. Kanak Yadav says for 1 and 2 make them 3D looking like a raised button with arrows. For 3 give a 3D look raised button, and for 4 give a flat look in gray. 1, 2, 3 should be bright color.
Very nice. So there are lots of possibilities that you can use to. One, I think it is coming a lot from how we are again used to looking at the interfaces and apps and the kind of differentiation we use for these actions. Second interesting way to design something drastically different or very, very different is to take inspiration again from the environment that you have. What are the things that you usually drag? What are the things that you usually push? So the button thing also, which we usually see on our apps and the website with the drop shadow and a slight 3D thing and all that is coming from how the buttons we use in our environment usually. And the reds are also coming because of the danger signs usually we see as fire and some red ant which probably can bite you and all of that. So you could, I mean, these are the answers which, the most obvious answers which I can also show you. Probably this is what most of the people have thought of. And so I had put it out saying that probably these will be the most obvious or the most, especially in the short time because we don't have a lot of time to think about it. But to make use of dotted lines, make use of these arrows, use of shadow, different colors, and make the fourth one something which is extremely, it is spaced out, it is not grouped with these things so that accidentally also you don't touch it. You keep it at a different place and you make it into a text with no symbology, nothing, that you make it separate. And so the chances of accidentally clicking on it also lowers. Yeah. So, but you guys, I mean, you all of you should probably take some time and think about it if you like the exercise. Think of different and unique ways of looking at the environment around you, what do you usually drag and drop, and how you can convert that into a visual, and probably use that as a symbol or something like that. That will be quite interesting to see maybe later. Just to, I think I'm now coming towards the closing of the presentation. Just two more examples. Before that, Anna, do we have any more comments, or can I just move ahead?
Um, move ahead.
Okay.
Move ahead.
Yeah. So so we talked about grouping, proximity, and visual cues, saying that कि कुछ चीजें आप साथ में रखते हैं, दूर रखते हैं, उसकी वजह से हमारा उसकी तरफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग, प्रोडक्ट की तरफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एक ऐप या वेबसाइट की तरफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग बदलता है. Similarly, the kind of visuals that we use on our products, it tells a story, it tells us how to use those products. But there are certain other examples also which I found very interesting, which are not exactly on to do with grouping proximity, but I think these are interesting examples to see how it is. So, for example, this is a book from kindergarten, and it just talks about safety rules. It's a very dangerous safety rules to teach a kindergarten, I would say, for the first look of it. But there is a problem with this page. So it says, look at the pictures, tick, and tick के साथ एक टिक बनाया भी, अगर आपको पता नहीं है कि टिक क्या होता है, तो एक टिक साथ में देंगे हम. Tick the safety rules to be followed at home. Only at home. If you see a knife somewhere else, you can touch it. If you see some tools or spilled water somewhere else, you can go and slip on it very nicely, no problem. So that is something to do with the language and the text part of it. But if you look at the design part of it, all the images, if you look, everything has a cross. Okay.
Anisha, you
and
seem
you're
to be frozen.
asking them.
Anisha, can you just repeat what you said in the last 30 seconds, because I think your connection froze. So just repeat everything from, you said that all the pictures have a cross. So from
Yes.
that point onwards, we lost you. So can you just
So I hope you were able to hear that, something that the text says it is to be followed only at home and not otherwise. I hope you were able to hear that. Yes, Anna?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it says pick the things which you should not be doing. First of all, there is a conflict of ticking something that you should not do. It could have been very simply said, cross the things that you should not be doing. And ticking with a cross is a visual cognitive conflict. So the assignment or this exercise seems to be to be given to a child to for them to understand and carry it on for the rest of their life. So this is one example of not a very good design and a visual cognitive conflict. So वो थोड़ा सा problem है यहाँ. Similarly, एक और I came across one more example. So you take some time to read it and understand what could be a problem. Look at the picture. Then
Anisha, are these from a real published book for kids?
Yes, I can show you the book if you want.
Oh God.
This is from a real book for kindergarten. These are not examples from the internet on memes or something like that. These are actual books kindergarteners are using to learn everyday life skills. And so the green smiley is not there. The child is automatically, I think, they really like the yellow smileys, so they are anyways attracted toward the yellow smileys. And then you have to tick, random ticking everywhere. to this green smileys, which is again a very cognitively वो बहुत ऐसे दिमाग पे प्रेशर डालता है कि करना क्या है और क्यों करना है. मतलब it's a bit weird. I hope you understand what I'm trying to convey here. So this is more or less it from what I wanted to share today. There are a lot of bad design all around us. I'm sure all of you have come across a lot of design which does not work with us and have blamed your own self. Why is this door not opening? Why am I going to a public washroom and not able to close the door? Why the airport lavatories flush is always missing? You know, there are so many confusions all around the world, and we have all come across this, but don't blame yourself. It is probably something that the designer did not pay attention to or took it for granted that you will eventually learn and get habituated. I think I can take some questions before we can give away a redesign assignment for home. Or should I just give it out right now and take the questions later, Arnav?
Yeah, I think you should give it now.
Yeah.
Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just the last thing, which is one of my favorite things again, because I use a lot of paints and I use a lot of color, and children also use a lot of colors and all. So as a designer, what we do is we always think about the user. How is this person going to use the product, and not like an artist कि भाई मैंने painting सोची एक अच्छी सी मैं अपने लिए बनाऊंगी painting जिससे मुझे खुशी मिले. You are always making for somebody else who should be able to use it very, very well without instructions, without being told what and how it is to be used. Okay, so one of the things which is very commonly used by children is a color palette. In my personal opinion, I think this can be designed better. And as a product, we would love to see, especially children, because you use it every day almost. Everybody love all kids, almost all kids love art. Uh, do you think it is a good design? What are the problems with it? You know, you can see it in the picture also. Colors keep mixing. I mean, white मेरा पूरा gray बन गया है. So you have a lot of issues, and as kids, when you are just starting to explore, when you are just trying to, and there's so much pressure to make the sky blue, grass green, और तुम्हारे पास ये color palette है, how can you make it, you know, keeping the advantages of this is compact, this is portable, you can carry it in your bag, you can, you know, it's extremely lightweight, keeping all the pros of the product, how can you design it slightly more better and usable and more experiential for your own self, or for children? If you could just, you know, we have our Twitter handles here. You could send us a photograph of your design on Facebook as a comment, or you could email us on chayandwhy@gmail.com. This is our design and technology group website. We also have an option of sending emails there. So, I mean, we would love to see, especially children and creative minds. I mean, we've got some very creative responses today for our Guess the Product segment. So it will be lovely to see your design solutions. And I think now we can take questions if you have any. I hope the session was interesting and something new that you learned today. Arnab.
Yes. So can we just specify what is the homework problem? There is this little coloring box that children use, and the colors tend to get mixed up. And the homework is, can we design this coloring box for children in a slightly better way, keeping all the advantages of having ready-made different colors around in a light, compact box. And please send us the answers. You can send it via Facebook, Twitter, or email, or look at the HPCSE Design and Technology Group webpage and put it in there. And meanwhile, if you have questions, I'm sure you will have questions. Anisha is happy to answer them. So please put in your questions on the chat or comments, and we will try and answer them. And thank you so much. This was eye-opening, literally. I mean, you know, you look at some of these things every day, but you don't think about it. And you always wonder, why is it that you can't do something? It's just bad design. You don't realize how important the design is.
Thank you.
Okay, so are there questions? Please type in some questions. We'll give it a minute. Okay, that's people. Anisha, people are saying it was an excellent session. It was very interesting, etc. But let's see if people have some questions. Are there questions on Facebook?
No, not yet. No question on Facebook.
That's good. I mean,
Okay, there is a. Do you want to comment on the way IKEA has only pictorial uh, instructions which are sort of language independent, and is that a good thing? And why don't other companies use such methods, etc.?
I think again going back to the veg non-veg example, if you are habituated to that kind of language or visual language, it can really work for you. But if you're not, I mean, visuals also till a point work. I mean, if it is an overload of information, visuals also, it probably becomes something which is you need to understand, and especially the visual language how you have designed should be easily communicated to the other. So this is one of my again favorite examples where you know the humble cross. I mean, we use posters and say do not do this. I mean, especially for coronavirus and all also the situation going around, we use this cross thing a lot. That do not meet people, do not do this. Do not take off your mask and all of that. Do not touch. Wash your hands. Do not. So a cross is very commonly used. So so one of our fellow designers from NID used this cross in some early years. She used this cross and went to a village and put the posters on saying that नदी के पास जाकर you don't go and do your morning business over there. Okay, so वहाँ पे नदी किनारे जाके because people are habituated जैसे रेलवे ट्रैक पर यहाँ पर होता है, तो उसने वो एक इमेज बनाया एंड क्रॉस डाल दिया उसके ऊपर, दो तीन ऐसे इमेजेस डाले पोस्टर में. Now she assumed that obviously कि ये कर दिया है तो people will understand and next day morning nobody will be there. What happened, people understood the visuals in such a way that the next day when they went to the river, all the people were sitting there with two sticks behind them in a form of a cross. So they thought you can go and do it, but you're supposed to put two sticks behind you so that this position is marked. Nobody can come and sit on this position, do their business. So they thought the cross was something as a way of marking their territory. So unless you are able to understand the visuals the same way, maybe the visuals need to be explained, and the visuals probably need to be communicated along with text, is what I feel. But that's a very interesting thing what you said, Anna, because most of the board games that you use are impossible to learn all by themselves by children because it's highly textual. The information flow is very weird. The categorization of what are the materials, how to play the game, who's the winner, it's all very haphazard. And at times, the language is also very hard for children to understand. Probably something that can be learned from IKEA's instructional design and to probably used in board game design and instruction design should be taken care of, is what I feel.
Okay, there is another question about biases in design. Why do we associate certain designs with, click or avoid or something? How do these biases in design come in?
That is again something what I shared today, that how designers can trick you. These are, you are being tricked on those biases only. That you are supposed to click on certain on a button looking a certain way. You're not supposed to touch certain things because of the kind of visual cues it is giving. So there are biases, and the biases are being used by designers for both for their advantage and for the user's advantage. Yes, I mean they do exist, and they're used in multiple ways.
Okay, there's a question from Deepthi. Should design be culturally appropriate?
Yes, very much. I like to, I'll show you this example. I can just share that screen probably. Sorry, Deepthi, I'm just taking. Can you see this image?
Uh,
There's a glass gas stove.
yes, we can see
Yes.
the glass gas.
Yeah. So most of the homes nowadays have switched to these glass gas stoves. And I'm Deepti, I'm answering your question with a product example here. So why? I mean, do you think it is a good design or a bad design? If you could just write in the comment here, what do you think? It is a good design or a bad design, especially for the country we live in? I've already given you the answer.
Um, so Deepti, who asked the question, said that it's a bad design because the glass is breakable.
Yes, and the glass is breakable because of the thing that they have not kept in mind, the Indian culture and the Indian food eating habits and the Indian ways of cooking. If you go on Amazon or anything, any website to buy this particular product, even on the packaging of this product, it comes with these 5 safety rules. Do not put hot vessels directly on the glass surface. Do not use these abrasive cleaning pads, which we usually use because we make curries. Avoid using oversized pans. I mean, we make basundi at home. Do not put water on wet cloth, water or wet cloth to clean it. I mean, how else will you wipe away all the oil that you have used for tadka? Do not use a tandoor or cooker or bati. I mean, Punjabis cannot eat food without tandoori stuff in the house. So all of that stuff is there, and very often the glass either breaks or is not cleaned properly because of the kind of stuff that we prepare in the house. And it is not culturally looking at how we use it as Indians, how the glass stuffs are used. So yes, culture plays a very important role, not just in the language, the web, the interface, and all that, but in the usual products that we use on an everyday basis as well. A lot of things are not. And if I mean, one of my favorite topics is children books. If you look at children's books, they're highly racist, very gendered. They I mean, culturally, if you look at it, certain aspects of our culture are promoted like anything, whereas the other parts of it are completely, not looked at. And children are being taught a particular way or a certain way of our culture through the design of our books. So yes, culture plays an important role in the design of products, and designers must pay attention to uh, all cultures, not just particular one, and try and promote one culture over the other, say, white or some rich class or somebody. If you look at basic Varnamala books also, men are shown as if they are the intellectuals. ऋषि हमेशा वो ज्ञानी जो है वो हमेशा एक आदमी ही होता है, एक मुनि होता है, एक साधु होता है. So yes, I've just taken it to some other place, but I hope you have answered your question.
Okay, there's another question. I can see that you put a picture of lunch, and we probably need to stop very soon. But there's one last question which is coming here about the story of the cross was at the lakeside was amusing. Is there a universal danger sign? Is skull and bones a good design?
You cannot have a universal anything. You cannot have a standardized anything, because we are very different people. We grow up differently. We have different cultures, different habits. We cannot have until unless it is forced onto us. I mean, until unless you say it from the topmost authority, still, I mean, people don't agree within families. World में कहाँ agree करेंगे?
Okay, so on that note, I see this very nice plate of lots of different dishes, which probably reminds us that it's time for lunch. And thank you so much for taking your Sunday morning and telling us some glimpse about the world of design. And remember, listeners, that there is a homework problem, which is to look at the typical color box that is given to used in schools or by kids. These little things
I was just going to do that.
this is the color box, and is this a good design or not? And can you redesign it? And if you can redesign it, please send us your comments by email or on Facebook or Twitter. And Anisha is going to be process to go through them. Meanwhile, thank you all for joining us on a Sunday. Yeah, that's the color box that you need to redesign so that the colors don't mix like they invariably do in any ask any kid about the color box. The white is never white.
Slide number 40. If you also want to send some ideas for the previous slides, if you have thought of it and were not able to share it right now, you could also do that with the slide number.
Yes, and at Chai and Why, we will be back 2 weeks from now. And 2 weeks from now, we will be telling you about one of the hottest stories in science, which is happening right now, which is the discovery of phosphine on Venus. And we will have someone from astronomy at TIFR talk about what exactly was measured and what the implications are. So that is 2 weeks from now. Till then, please stay safe and healthy. And do remember to give us your comments and feedback on Chai and Why. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching. And thank you, Anisha, for everything. And with